Welcome to Boxing This Week, episode 70 on Paolo. We're unpacking all the fights, fallout, and future matchups from this week. Not to mention, obviously, the massive card, Anthony Yarde and Benavidez this weekend. Let's get straight into it. You will be noticing I'm missing Conor today, but he is here in spirit. He may even be making an appearance in the chat. So, guys, we are going to go straight into the weekly roundup. How are you all doing? I hope everyone is well. There's been a lot of obviously interesting information out this week, which has come to light, obviously, ahead of the Benavidez and Anthony Yarde card. So let's do it. We got a little video for you to introduce this. Let's test it out.
The weekly roundup.
Yeah, that's all Connor's doing, man. But it's good. It's good. Listen, massive news this week for the weekly roundup. Where do we start? I think I've picked out a few headlines, and we will be talking about them later on in the episode. So let's get straight into it, man. The biggest one, or one of the biggest ones this week, is Joseph Parker fails a drugs test, specifically for a Class A drug, cocaine. We will be talking about that a little bit more later on in the episode. Very interesting. Mental. I'm very shocked. This comes in light of obviously his defeat to Fabio Wardley, the new WBO World Heavyweight Champion. That takes me on to our next headline. Usyk vacates his title. So we'll be talking a little bit about that later on as well. So I won't go too much into it now. But Usyk has vacated his WBO title, meaning that Fabio Wardley is now the active WBO World Heavyweight Champion. Interesting times for the heavyweight scene. One belt sort of let go. Like I said, we'll talk about that later on. Spoke about this a little bit last week, but officially confirmed. Jake Paul v. Anthony Joshua confirmed for December the 19th in Miami, Florida. It is a heavyweight bout. 8 rounds, 10-ounce gloves. This will be interesting because I feel like Jake Paul's used to fighting in pillows, to be totally honest with you. It's interesting, man. Like I said to you, not going to give that one too much of a platform. But it's one that I had to bring up because it has been big news this week in boxing, and I can't believe we're putting Jake Paul big news on boxing in one sentence, man. Tell me what you lot think, because it's mental. It's mental. That kind of proceeds, obviously, for the weekly roundup. Let's get straight into it. So we're going to be talking a little bit, obviously, about Usyk relinquishing his title today. We're going to be talking about Joseph Parker's findings, and we will be having a breakdown of the card on Saturday in Saudi, headlining Anthony Yarde v. Benavidez, a massive stacked undercard. I'm excited for this one. We had the Conor Benn and Eubank rematch last weekend. That card was surprisingly very good. You had some great fights on the undercard. Echo Esserman and Catterall was a great fight. Catterall come out and got the victory against Esserman in devastating fashion towards the end of it. Catterall looks good, man. Looks good. New trainer. I like the way that he come out. Really aggressive, sharp from the start. Catterall's sort of known for get going really late in a fight, and he doesn't tend to do well in the early rounds, but that was probably the opposite. In fact, later on in the rounds, Esserman picked up a bit of momentum, and then in the end, Catterall finished it. And then obviously you had the Riakporhe fight on the undercard as well. Knockout, crazy knockout. That one might even have to go into our knockout of the week. But yeah, look, where do we start? Let's start here, man. Joseph Parker has failed a drugs test. Listen, look, I was quite shocked by this news when it come out, Joseph Parker is the last person that I thought would fail a cocaine test. He is disputing it. He has come out and said that he doesn't know how he's failed the test. And right now, for him, it is not looking good. Yeah, it's not looking good at all. Listen, look, if Joseph Parker is found guilty of these findings, we are looking at potentially a lengthy ban for him, which is not going to do any good to his career at the age that he's at. I feel like he picked up a lot of momentum, the Wilder fights, so on. Like I think he's rebuilt himself. I've always said it. He was a better fighter now than he was when he was world champion. I've always said that. Obviously, he's failed his B sample. That's come back showing adverse findings of cocaine. I doubt we'll hear anything. I mean, we look at the Conor Benn when Conor Benn's samples come back with adverse findings. That took probably about a year for the whole process to actually go through, and then for them to get a result, and then for him to actually come back and, I suppose, fight, because you weren't given a license to box in the UK. Joseph Parker's kind of made, I feel like, boxing in the UK is home. This is what makes it a bit difficult. Like I said, it's hard because I feel like he's built a fan base in the UK and he's able to, capitalize off that financially. What this could do to him, it could be, it could have a devastating impact on obviously his career goals of wanting to become a world heavyweight champion. He'll be kicking himself, I feel like, because, he could have waited it out, been awarded the title, which is kind of what he wanted to do. It's not really in Joseph Parker. I've got him up there as like one of my favorite heavyweight boxers at the moment, purely because of just the journey that he's been on. But what he'll be kicking himself. Usyk obviously vacated his title. Fabio Wardley has been pushed obviously to WBO World Heavyweight Champion. I'll be honest with you, if I'm Parker, I'm fuming. But then on top of it, you've got all of this as well. I just don't understand how they can get something wrong like this. And don't get me wrong, at the moment, there is an investigation that needs to go ahead, which we will wait for the findings out. So I'm not going to speak too much on it, because at the moment, they are adverse findings that have come back for cocaine at this point. That is kind of all we know. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. It is really interesting. Look, we're talking about an elite heavyweight, a world level boxer or heavyweight boxer who's kind of been a world champion, rebuilt himself, come back, and he's doing really well for himself. How this is going to do for him, I don't know. It's interesting because it is a great time to I feel like to fight in the heavyweight division. When you look at all the talent coming up now, Usyk's 39 now. He's been talking about 41. He'll be retiring. We don't know what he's going to do next, but I feel like when those belts sort of, if he does retire and he's still holding the belts and they sort of spread out to various bodies, we're looking at a tasty division again where we've got we haven't got a unified champion or undisputed champion. We've got all the belts out there for grabs again. So we'll see some good fights. What I don't want to see is people holding the belts for ransom. Yeah, that's what I'm saying anyway. But let me know what you guys think in the comments on that. Joseph Parker has failed a drugs test for cocaine, and just give us your opinions on it. We'd be interested to hear. As I said, it is one of them where we're looking at it and we're going, has he done it? What we're being put in front of us right now, it's hard to kind of say otherwise. So yeah, it's interesting. But that kind of brings me on to the next subject that I wanted to bring up and talk about. Usyk vacates his WBO title. It's interesting because we've had a couple of questions, or we had a question come in from a fan, and we might start doing this more actually, reading the questions out, because I think it is a good way to engage with you guys. But Usyk has vacated his WBO title, meaning that Fabio Wardley is promoted to full champion. He was the interim champion. One of the questions that come up, and it's really interesting, and I wanted to get people's thoughts on this. Did Alexander Usyk vacate the belt to avoid a mandatory he didn't find worthwhile, or was it simply strategic timing to focus on bigger fights? It's an interesting question. That actually come in. You can email us your questions and we can read them out on the show. That actually come into our email. So yeah, look, I'm going to leave the question up there and I'll delve into it a little bit more. I mean, look, Conor's going to disagree with me. Fabio Wardley was looking towards having that title shot with Usyk. But I feel as if, to be honest with you, we're talking about a guy like Fabio Wardley commercially. I don't feel like doesn't make the money that Usyk does. I mean, you've got to pay. Eddie Hearn said it. You've got to pay Usyk 15-20 million now to get out of bed to fight. Does Fabio Wardley offer that in a heavyweight bout, or does that purse come up if he fights Usyk? Is that money on the line? You know, it isn't an Anthony Joshua and it isn't a Fury that he's fighting. You know, Fury and Anthony Joshua in the heavyweight division are probably two of the highest earners, and now Usyk as well. And Dubois is not far off in terms of what he's done. He's sold out. You know, he's boxed main card at Wembley. You're talking about 80,000 people. Carl Froch likes to remind us of that all the time, because if you didn't know, he sold it out, boxed in front of 80,000. But listen, look, I feel as if Usyk done what he done with the IBF. He vacated it. I feel like Fabio Wardley's going to defend it. Should Fabio Wardley come out of that, Usyk fights him again. If Usyk goes on to beat Fabio Wardley again, he becomes 3-time undisputed. And it's getting silly at this point. And then you've got to ask yourself, is Usyk just miles above everyone else? Because if Usyk keeps winning this belt, letting the belts go, letting them fight, winning it back, is he miles above everyone else? Yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting question. I feel I don't know what big fights are out there for him at the moment. I feel like he's beaten everyone. We are seeing a lot of cross-platform fights taking place now. Obviously, Ngannou come over and fought AJ, fought Fury. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something silly like that. I don't really know what's left for Usyk now, apart from fighting the guys below him. Ajit Caballero is obviously due a title shot. That is potentially, I think, a next fight for Fabio Wardley, but I don't know if he'll take it. Caballero has been on an amazing run since beating Arsenal Makhmudov, who, when we live streamed that fight, we all had him as a underdog in that fight. And to be brutally honest with you, he's gone on and earned his place at the table to get a title shot. We've got to give him a title shot at some point. Otherwise, this whole thing's rigged. Because if he's winning the fights that he's winning, I don't know what else you can do. I don't really know what else you can do to get a title shot. And then it brings into the question, if we continue to see this, does it mean that we lean towards this one belt, one organization? That Dana White is obviously formed with Zaffa Boxing. Because I feel like if that model works with Dana White, could be reciprocated across boxing. Or the other thing we could see that could be happening, obviously Turkey Al Sheikh has bought Ring, the Ring magazine or Ring magazine belt, which is out of the belts the most prestigious one to actually win. A lot of people don't know. You got the WBC, the Ring. I'd probably say the top belts that you can win, in terms of just the history of them. But the Ring is the most respected, most accredited, prestigious belt that you can win. Obviously, at that, out of the belts that are out there to win. And then for me, I'd probably say WBC second, if I'm being brutally honest with you. We could see this leaning towards, we could see this leaning towards a one belt, one organization. Obviously, that's a convo for another day. But who should Fabio Wardley fight? I'm going to say Caballero. Moses Atalma is not a possibility, although he's highly ranked, obviously, in the WBO. They are stablemates. So we can't see that fight happening anytime soon. The problem you've got is, on the other hand, if Fabio Wardley was to go and beat Usyk, he becomes... And if he was to fight Usyk and beat Usyk, he becomes undisputed. What do we do then? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Because we are looking at potentially Moses, and I know people keep saying it, and we had a comment on YouTube. Yeah. Someone said, I'm sick of hearing about Moses Atalma. He hasn't earned his shot yet, hasn't been tested. This whole tested thing needs to stop. We need to put it in the bin now. Because if you have the capability to knock out all your opponents, like he's got, and the age that he's doing it at, I feel as if, is there anyone good enough to test him at the moment? He's obviously fighting Jermaine Franklin next, but is there anyone else good to test him? He's not going to be a likely opponent for Fabio Wardley, the WBO champion. Yeah, I feel like Caballero is probably the next fight that makes sense. Caballero is the next fight that makes sense. It's interesting, but you guys have to let me know what you think, because I can't see any other fight happening than sort of Ajit Caballero. There are talks of a Coley fighting Fabio Wardley, but Fabio Wardley's got his show in December in Nigeria, the homecoming show. Should he win that, and should he come out of that, which we're expecting him to, I don't think that Matchroom are going to put him in. To be honest with you, so I don't think that he's going to get put onto a card where it's going to pose a risk to what his plans are and where he needs to go at this stage. I feel the homecoming fight is going to be an opponent that's going to be tough for a Coley, but ultimately he will be expected to win. And then into the new year, he, has got his eyes set on Wardley's. He's got his eyes set on Caballero, all these guys. We could see, obviously, Caballero and a Coley fight, and the winner of that fight is Fabio Wardley, but I kind of don't agree with that, I'll be honest with you. I don't know what you guys think, but I feel as if that would be doing Caballero an injustice. I don't know how long this guy can wait for a title shot. It's mental. But if you're going to give anyone a title shot next, or the fight that we are going to want to see, that has to be, that's got to be him. It's got to be Caballero. Let me know what you guys obviously think in the comments. It's an interesting one. But Usyk has vacated his WBO title. The other question that I had before I wanted to move on, that we had sent in to us, and I didn't manage to get this one ticked up to show on here, was something we're seeing across social media is Usyk dodging Fabio Wardley. I think a casual... I think if you ask that question honestly, you're a casual. I'm just going to put it out there now. Usyk is 2-time undisputed at heavyweight. He's undisputed at cruiserweight. He's fought the top guys at heavyweight. He fought the top guys at cruiserweight. Bradis is a fight that don't forget, and I always remember because I remember watching that fight with Usyk when he was fighting down at cruiserweight. He obviously come up. He obviously come up to heavyweight, conquered heavyweight, beat Dubois twice, beat Joshua twice, and he's done it with Fury in it as well. I don't know what else you can say about Usyk. He's miles ahead of the other heavyweights at the moment. It is more of a strategic decision. I don't think that decision for him to relinquish the belt comes from a place of being scared. I don't think any fighter is scared to fight another fighter. I think that kind of narrative needs to stop getting pushed with anyone. They wouldn't be boxing in the capacity that they box if they were scared to box. But Usyk, no doubt, has done this from a commercial point. The commercial point makes the most sense. The commercial point makes the most sense. So, it's understandable what he's done. He's done the same thing with the IBF. Dubois defended that against Joshua. That added value to Dubois, and it added value probably to his pay packet in terms of making that fight more financially gainable for Usyk when he was to them fighting. Probably going to see the same thing done with Fabio Wardley and Caballero. Sell out a bigger stadium. Usyk's not going to fight at Ipswich. It's too big for that. He's big time. You get Usyk out for Wembley, or you get Usyk out for a Tottenham. They seem to be the two big stadiums now where we're probably looking at in the UK boxing events to be held. And the reason I say for Usyk to fight in the UK or Saudi is the only place we're going to see it is because the UK has built quite a solid fan base over here of a mixture of people, and obviously the Ukrainians, but a mixture of people in the UK. Saudi, you earn the money over there, and it's not, you're not getting taxed for it. That's another benefit for fighters that go and fight in Saudi. They don't get taxed. Get me over there, man. Get me over there. Do you know what? I've even said Saudi something we'd love to do one day. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Usyk has vacated his WBO title. Fabio Wardley has been promoted to full heavyweight champion. What does it mean? Who's he going to fight? Let me know in the comments. Give us a shout if you're here. Before we obviously move on to the big card this weekend, one bit of news which I did forget to mention, but I'm going to mention it now. Ryan Garcia has signed a fight to fight Barrios. Barrios is the WBC champion who Conor Benn is on the hunt to fight following his win from Eubank. But by the looks of it, the WBC have given this man let me finish. This man a title shot. I got a little. You are all aware of what I think of this man. So we're gonna have this as our background for this segment. We be crooks, the WBC. That's all it's got to stand for, to be honest with you. Latest reports via Boxweek, Ryan Garcia has signed to fight Barrios in February. I believe it's February the 21st for the WBC title. Let me just get this off the bottom. Yeah. This is mental, by the way. We are giving a man who had no contest against Devin Haney. The result has been reversed because he cheated and he took drugs. Following on from that, he lost against Romero, Rolly Romero, and the WBC has now organized. If this is true, which I'm seeing everywhere it is, and people can verify it for me. If this is true, this man has got a title shot, which is mental. This is not the worst decision this man has made this year, by the way. Pacquiao being given a title shot after being out of the ring for 4 years. His last fight, losing his last fight at that weight, taking 4 years out. He was doing side missions, presidency, running for president of Philippines, everything. Comes back, gives him a title shot. Listen, they've got to be one of the most corrupt bodies I think we've got in boxing. These lot are the reason why we hate boxing to an extent. This is the side of it that I hate. The corruptness that obviously goes into it. I don't understand I'll be honest with you. If I'm looking at this, Conor Benn fighting for a title makes sense. Fighting Barrios for a title makes sense. Makes more sense than Ryan Garcia fighting for the title, especially coming off the back of 2 losses. I'm not sure how their rankings or how they rank their fighters. Interesting. I don't know what you guys think of this, but I don't think this man should be fighting for a title. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, because it's mental, to be honest. But yes, this is the latest report. This was released about 10 hours ago. I saw it via BoxRec. You should check that out as well. But we are here, and most people are here to talk about the big card this weekend, man. I'm ready for this. I'm honestly ready for this. I'll be honest. This is a massive card, by the way. Obviously, you've got Rodriguez v Fernando Martinez. You've got Abdullah Mason v Sam Noakes. Maidstone's very own Sam Noakes fighting a big prospect, American prospect, Abdullah Mason. A big fan favorite of Conor's. Conor's not here, but if he was, he'd do a segment for about 7 minutes talking about Abdullah Mason. You've got obviously Brian Norman Jr. v Devin Haney. I'm excited to see that fight. It's an interesting fight. We're gonna talk a little bit more about all these fights shortly, but David Benavidez v Anthony Yarde being the main event. Interesting because some stuff's come out about that. I'll probably say this week at Media Week. Benavidez is looking a little bit drained. I don't know if that's a good thing going into this fight of Anthony Yarde, because Anthony Yarde historically is known for making fights really, really tough. I mean, if you look at his last fight with Lyndon Arthur, that fight looked tiring watching it, let alone being in it. Not because it was boring, but because of how much physical exertion they put out. We got a little Conor. ARJ, Arjun, you're right. Conor is not here this week. He's got some issues he's sorting out. Obviously, technically, he will be back next week. So I'm here this week. You've got me. But as I was saying, Anthony Yarde and Benavidez. Benavidez looks a little bit drained. We'll talk about that shortly. Not sure if that's the right decision going into a fight or with someone in the ring with someone like Anthony Yarde. He's been at this stage before and he's been at this level before. He's fell at the hurdles, but I feel like he's learned so much. I'm switching with my decision, but we will talk about that. And obviously to start the night as well, we've got Vito Milanecki v Samuel Namoa. I don't know too much about them. I feel like it's going to be, I'd imagine, a fight that Turkey's put on there to showcase two boxers, obviously up and coming new boxers. He likes to do that with his Saudi cards early doors, get 2 fighters on that don't necessarily or haven't had that exposure. So I won't talk too much about that. Jesse Bam Rodriguez, a pound for pound top 10 fighter. I'll be honest with you. This fight is interesting for me. Fernando Martinez is very aggressive, but Bam Rodriguez, it's going to be high skilled. But from what I've seen of Fernando Martinez, he's going to put it on Bam. But we've seen this happen with Bam before. Every time this happens, Bam knocks someone out. Someone's going to sleep. it's difficult. Like I said, Bam's. I feel like for me in this fight, watching this, Bam's going to be the sharper fighter. Fernando Martinez is going to be the more aggressive fighter. It's an interesting fight. It's really early on in the night as well. So if you are going to watch this fight, lock in from early because I think this card's starting at about 5:36. So lock in early or you'll miss a lot of the fights. We are obviously going live for this on Saturday, which I'll give more info about at the end of the episode. But Bam Rodriguez v Fernando Martinez. Listen. Yeah, Fernando Martinez is an aggressive, come forward fighter. Good, he's a good fighter. He's coming to take the belts. Listen, Bam Rodriguez, I've got him in high regard. I don't know what you guys think, but that's a man that I just can't see getting beaten anytime soon. The guy's 25 years old as well. Just to add the achievements this guy's made at 25 is crazy. Fighting for the WBA, WBC, and IBF titles at super flyweight. Let me know what you guys think in the comments of this because this is an interesting fight. We don't do sitting on the fence anymore. Bam Rodriguez, I've got for knockout, and I'm gonna say between rounds 5 to 8. Yeah, you got a prediction and you got a round from me. Again, similar styles with the next one because this is a really interesting one. WBO title on that. Sam Noakes v Abdullah Mason. This is an interesting fight. Abdullah Mason, an American prospect, very highly regarded to do massive things. Floyd spoke about him. Couple boxers have spoke about him. Couple of the GOATs. I'm interested to watch this fight. I'm excited about this fight the most. Or one of these. Sorry, not excited about this most. This is one of the fights that I'm looking at. I'm really interested to see how this pans out. In this fight, Sam Noakes is going to have to be on the ball all the time. Abdullah Mason I feel, is going to be the quicker fighter. On paper, he's going to be the quicker fighter, more skilled. But we haven't seen Abdullah Mason in trouble too much. So it'll be interesting to see how this pans out when Sam Noakes puts him on the back foot because he comes forward as more of an aggressive fighter. He's gonna bring pressure. He is constantly pushing fighters back when he fights. Given this is Abdullah Mason, he's got to be quick to fight him, and he's got to be, because I feel like on paper Abdullah Mason's going to be one step ahead of him all the time. Quick, he's got the age on his side. Quick, young. His IQ, from what I've obviously watched of him, is serious. This is a big prospect coming out of America that is touted to do massive things. But this is a great fight for him because it asserts himself and gets himself known more out there. This is what the Saudi card's doing for people. Those American fighters who are coming over are now having a British fighter headline on the card against Benavidez. These fighters are getting exposure to the UK audience as well. The UK audience, which I feel is probably one of the biggest boxing audiences, just in terms of the amount of money that I'd say we, as a boxing community, invest. The stadium fights, we fill out stadiums a lot more than the American shows. And boxing is just different in the UK. I can't explain it. Yeah. Garcia v Barrios from earlier on in the episode, Arjun. Garcia v Barrios potentially confirmed, supposedly is signed. So we're going to wait to hear more about that. But supposedly this is like almost done. February the 21st is when they're looking to fight. we'll see what happens. But yeah, as I was saying, Abdullah Mason v Sam Noakes. Yeah, I'm really interested to see this fight. I think Abdullah Mason is going to be too sharp, too quick, potentially. But Sam Noakes is going to have to be ahead of him, one step ahead of him at the whole time. Get him on the back foot or push him back and get aggressive with him. Yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Very exciting fight I'm looking forward to on Saturday on the card. I've got Abdullah Mason winning purely because of just like I've just mentioned the attributes. I think we're talking. I think he's going to win it late on, and he's going to wear Sam Noakes down. But it would be good to see Sam Noakes put that pressure on him, and if Sam Noakes gets the victory, then yeah, we're wrong. But we don't sit on the fence here. So as I said to you, there's always a prediction, and it don't come from a place of hate. No doubt we might see these boxers in the future, as Conor says this to me all the time. So God forbid they don't show the clip of me talking about the analogy, Bonnie Blue analogy for Fabio Wardley, and I have to interview him one day. Mental. But yeah, let me get this comment up. Yeah, how did Garcia get that opportunity? If you see my background, Arjun, that is how the opportunity comes about. If this is true and this is what we're seeing, that man is a fraud, Mauricio Suleiman. That is how he got the opportunity. The WBC is the most prestigious belt, but I feel as if recently the way it's being run is nothing short of a joke. So the same way that Pacquiao got a title shot, Ryan Garcia's got a title shot, is historically known that he's pally with Mauricio Suleiman. But also, commercially as well, there is a lot of money that, WBC could probably take from having a fight like Ryan Garcia, a fighter like Ryan Garcia fighting Barrios. The board fees that they get for the belts, I'd imagine is going to be higher, dependent on the purse, etc. Conor, yeah, I'd imagine it's going to be higher. But I'll be honest with you, Garcia generates a lot of money in boxing. Yeah. Look, Garcia will clap Barrios' cheeks. We'll come back onto this at the end, Arjun, yeah? And we'll talk a little bit more about it because it seems to be a very interesting topic. Big fight, obviously, on the Yarde card. Brian Norman Jr. v. Devin Haney. This card gets better and better. First of all, let me just take this fraud down 1 second because I'm getting annoyed looking at him, as I'm sure you guys are. There we go. Right, yeah. Brian Norman Jr. v. Devin Haney. I'm really interested in this fight. This fight, it's easy for some people, and I say this for the casuals that watch, obviously, boxing. Unless you're a boxing fan, you're gonna know Devin Haney more than Brian Norman Jr. But if you know Brian Norman Jr., you know that this fight could go either way. Brian Norman Jr. is explosive, man. He's quick. Devin Haney, his ring IQ is nothing. But by the way, is nothing. You need to respect it. He's got a very high ring IQ. Brian Norman Jr. For some reason, I feel like it's going to be the quicker fighter. The quicker fighter in this. But I feel like the experience is obviously the experience will be with Devin Haney. Devin Haney obviously having the fighting Ramirez off the back of his last fight, and before that having the no contest or the decision, the loss that was taken back against Garcia. And now he's obviously out fighting Brian Norman Jr. for the WBO title. This fight's interesting. It's an interesting one because we've seen Haney in trouble, but when we look at it in hindsight, the drugs that Garcia was on, did that make did that make a difference to his performance to allow him to perform to the levels he did and to do what he done to Devin Haney, or was that a glimpse of potentially what we could see in the future with Devin Haney when a fighter puts it on him like that, which Brian Norman Jr. has the capability of doing? It's interesting. I think this fight will be like Haney v Garcia. Garcia took enhancing. Yeah. Garcia was quick and fast in the ring, and Haney barely touched him. 100%. 100%. And this is the threat that obviously Brian Norman Jr. poses. He's quick. If you've watched Brian Norman Jr. fight, serious fighter. I'm not sitting on the fence for this one, but I'm going to say something that might shock some of you. I've got Brian Norman Jr. winning. I've got Brian Norman Jr. winning this. But I think it's going to be by a decision. I don't think he's going to knock out Haney or stop him. I think Brian Norman Jr. might take this. Speed. I like Brian Norman Jr. I think he's going to take this. That is what I think anyway. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. This is the most intriguing fight because the clash of styles is what interests me the most. Brian Norman Jr. will make this fight rough as well. He will make this fight rough. If he feels like he has to, he will make this fight rough. But then to combat that, Haney's got a very well-oiled defense. And as I said, his IQ plays into that as well. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Who have we got winning? Comment below. Brian Norman Jr. v Devin Haney. And the other fights that I've mentioned before. Who's winning? Let us know, man. Main card. This one's interesting because, as I said to you guys when I was talking about this at the start, there are interesting news has come out this week. I'm seeing in Fight Week. Benavidez looks a bit drained. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but Benavidez looks a bit drained compared to what he's normally looked like for his previous fights, especially fighting at light heavy now. Some people are saying that he's, because of the size of him, that's a guy that should be looking to more the cruiserweights more than the light heavyweights. He looks really drained for this fight, and I say that's dangerous. Anthony Yarde's been here before. He fought Kovalev, and he fought Beterbiev. He come short both of the fights, but he fought I would say a prime or in prime Kovalev. I would say an in prime Kovalev. I don't know what you guys think, but prior to Kovalev retiring, we saw quite a bad account for himself in his last fight, but he's been fighting at the top for a long time. When Anthony Yarde fought him, I thought he fought a better version of Kovalev. Maybe not his prime, but he was a better version. Anthony Yarde had him in trouble in that fight as well. So he's capable of doing damage. But experience kind of played out in that fight. Kovalev come back and got the win over Yarde there. Yarde's been in the ring with Beterbiev. And we're talking, obviously, him and Bivol are miles ahead in this light heavyweight division, in my opinion, until I'm proven otherwise. It makes it interesting because Anthony Yarde's been here twice. So he would have learned a lot from those two experiences. He's now fighting Benavidez, and Benavidez is a world-class fighter. He's moved up to light heavyweight. Again, an interesting one because Benavidez hasn't been around for a while. A WBC title. Yeah, again, this man, Mauricio Suleiman, that's the man that's in charge. Chat to him. But yeah, this fight's interesting. Benavidez looks drained. He looks skin and bones. Yes, he does. I'm not sure how much this is going to affect him on the night. Yarde can make these fights very, very sluggy. Very sluggy. Very, make you want like a dog. fight the way Yarde can fight on the inside as well, lean on you to take energy out of you. If you notice that with Yarde does that a lot. We saw that in the Lyndon Arthur fight. Made that fight a very tiring fight. Lyndon Arthur is a tough operator as well. Do you know what? I thought until I saw Benavidez this week, I would have said Benavidez winning. Benavidez, from what we see and what we expect him to bring, is nothing short of relentless pressure. That is what Benavidez is known for doing, right? Anthony Yarde has got relentless power. The two styles are going to meet, and that will be interesting to see. But how does that relentless pressure look? Let's be honest with how drained. Let me get that comment up again. How drained he looks at a moment. That's going to play a massive effect on him come fight night. I feel like you've only got to look at Eubank and Benn, the first one. Do you get it? So, yeah. Yeah, my opinion changed this week, Arjun. I'll be honest. I'm leaning towards Yarde, looking at those sort of weigh-ins or the weight and the way that Benavidez is walking around at the moment. I don't know if he's going to have that relentless pressure and power being that weight drained. Yeah, I'm not sure. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, because this is an interesting one. Who have you got winning this fight? This is for the WBC title. Third time lucky, can Anthony Yarde, after the weigh-in, he has to eat up the calories. Facts. Can Yarde do it third time? Can David Benavidez stop Yarde? Because ultimately, if Benavidez stays at this fight, then we are looking at Bivol, Dimitri Bivol, or Beterbiev as his next fight. More likely Bivol. But I feel like we still got to see Bivol and Beterbiev run it back. I don't know when that's going to happen. Looking at that weigh-in, the height is an interesting thing, yes, but I feel like when the energy is zapped out of you, or when you've got to put that back on and you don't recover well in time, I don't know if that's going to have an effect on Benavidez. Yeah, it's interesting. Height could play a part if Benavidez has the energy to be able to use it. If he doesn't, I don't think it's going to make a difference. I'll be honest. Don't think it's going to make a difference, but we'll see. I've got Anthony Yarde winning this, by the way, just after what I've seen this week. I'll be honest with you, I was leaning towards Benavidez beforehand, just from what we've seen before. I think he's coming way too skinny for this. Way too. I think he's done too much. It's overkill. It's gonna lose a lot of energy come fight night, and Yarde can do this for 12 rounds. He's got an engine. I'm going to go with Anthony Yarde, but I don't know if it's going to be a stoppage or decision. If Benavidez tires out and starts making wrong decisions, listen, Arjun, someone's got to be here for the underdogs. Someone has to be here for the underdogs. But do you know what gives me the confidence? Yeah. Do you know what gives me do you know what gives me the doubt in Benavidez? It is that weight drain, and that has a massive effect, or he looks weight drained. There isn't a time that I've seen a fighter weight drained and they've done well. Josh Taylor, when he fought Catterall the first time, which Catterall should have won, was massively weight drained. He looked like a skeleton on the scale. Eubank, weight drained, lost the fight. Weight drained for the first one, done well, but nearly died. Second fight, coming weighed less than Conor Benn and lost. Coming too small, is what I'm trying to say. I'm seeing a consistency here. Do you get it? I know Eubank won the first fight, but I'm seeing a consistency here. He was bigger than Conor Benn in the first fight, I think, as well. Second fight, he wasn't. I'm seeing a consistency here, being weight drained and the energy. And if you've watched Anthony Yarde fight, Technically, Benavidez is better, but Yarde can take him to deep waters. I think if he can take him to deep waters. However, do you know what goes out the window Saturday? If this is he's able to rehydrate and everything else perfectly fine, and it doesn't have an effect on him, then Yarde might be in trouble. I think. But at the moment, from what I can see, I've just got Yarde winning. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's interesting. But Arjun, you wanted to talk. That is the card for Saturday, by the way, which we're going live for. We've made some changes to hook casuals as well. So I think it's only right that I kind of share this with you guys. We're live Saturday. We're looking to start that around about 7 or 8 o'clock. So join us for that. Tune in. Our weekly shows, there is a change for a little while. It's not permanent, but it is a little while. Our episodes are going to be pre-recorded. We're still going to be here for the lives, but our episodes are going to be pre-recorded. But what we do our best to do is on the release of our episodes, we're going to premiere them on the Thursdays at 7:45 every week, as we do normally. We're just not going to be live where I'm talking to you and reacting to obviously comments, but instead we'll be in the comments reacting, or one of us will try to do it so that we're still talking to you whilst the episode's going on. So our weekly shows are going to be pre-recorded for a little bit, just so we can give you guys the best quality moving forward. We had a few technical issues last week, and we don't want to make it a common theme. We want to give you guys the best content, highest quality, pre-recording until we get a few glitches sorted out, and then we'll go from there. But live show on Saturday. Tune in for that. We're live. All the live boxing events we're going live for. That's not changing. We can't do pre-recording of that. That's got to be live. And we're planning to do more of them as well. So we're still going to see you guys all the time. And this isn't permanent. One thing I wanted to go back to for Arjun, because he's been here, man. He's been tuning in, locking in. Yeah. Garcia doesn't look like the same fighter, I'll be honest with you, as he did before the roids. Let's have it right. Tell me I'm lying. Garcia does not look like the same fighter as he did before the roids. I'm seeing a different Garcia now, and I just don't believe in the same Garcia. See, when Garcia was coming up and he was viral, yeah? That man was the Flash. Flash is probably, and I'm a bit of a nerd and geek when it comes to comics and that sort of thing. The Flash was one of my favorite characters. That's what Garcia was known as. Yeah, Garcia lost badly. But Barrios is not. But I half agree with you in that he could win that fight, because Barrios, for me, is not a strong champion. He didn't look convincing against Pacquiao, and Pacquiao did not look great. I'll be honest with you. If Pacquiao fights anyone outside of Barrios, if Pacquiao gets in the ring with Conor Benn, Pacquiao ends up in hospital. It's like that. Pacquiao was getting hit too much, and the problem with Barrios was he was showing him too much respect in that fight. Pacquiao was getting tagged a lot. Pacquiao weren't great in that fight, but Barrios was getting hit a lot, and Barrios was being hesitant. Garcia is a fighter. He could win that belt. That's the maddest thing about all of this. Shouldn't even have the title shot, but we're here. Every time we talk about it, I just feel like I've got to bring this one up. Shouldn't be having a title shot, but we're here. Yeah, we're here because of him. I don't know about anyone else, but I don't know what the answer is. It's not Dana White's Zaffa Boxing. We done a live stream probably about 2 months ago on one of Dana White's boxing shows. He had a card in Vegas where it was like his boxing card that he put on in a hotel. It looked like about 300 people watching it. I'm going to be honest with you. You lot, if you go back to that live, if you watched it with us, 3 o'clock in the morning, we might have been falling asleep. We might have been falling asleep in that stream. It's bad. It was a bad card. But something's got to give, because if this carries on, I'm leaning towards, however it's made, get crooks like this out of boxing. Garcia v Benn is a great fight commercially as well. Garcia, even though he's lost, commercially is a massive draw. Conor Benn is a massive commercial draw now. The two fights that he's done at Tottenham is a massive draw. That's a big money fight. I could see that happening, but then I did see recently, I think as soon as yesterday, IFL TV Coogan interviewing Conor Benn, and he's had a conversation with Shakur Stevenson. Once Shakur gets out the way of fighting Teofimo Lopez, he will be fighting Conor Benn. That is what Shakur wants. Conor Benn wants it. Verbally, they've agreed it. Contracts is a different thing. We'll wait till stuff is signed. But both of them want to fight. Shakur is going to move up to fight potentially Conor Benn. That division is the most exciting for me. You got 147. There's some great champions there. 154. There's great champions there as well. How long Benn can make, or he thinks he's going to be able to make 147. How long he can make it for, I don't know. These two fights are middleweight. Will take a toll on him. He'll find it hard to put the weight on and stuff like that. Lose the weight. Which means we could see him fighting probably more than likely at 154. Ben would sleep him. Garcia has no chin and would give up. Do you know what Garcia reminds me a bit of? I'll be honest with you. Yeah, hear me out. He weren't as quick as him, obviously. Garcia reminds me of Amir Khan. Not as good, but the speed to an extent and the chin. Because Garcia's got a bit of a glass chin. We're starting to see that. I'll be honest with you. Couple of times he's been put down. Don't forget, let's go back to, obviously, we've got a couple minutes. Don't forget, we go back to the end of, obviously, Gervonta Davis when he fought Garcia. Given that was a weight-drained Garcia, yeah? Given that was a weight-drained Garcia, the way he got dropped in that fight and made him give up was mental. But yeah, let me know in the comments. Listen, look, a lot of exciting news this week. I hope you guys have enjoyed the episode with just me. Conor will be back. We will be back next week. As I said, the premiere video will go out like alive at 7:45 on Thursday next week. Join us Saturday for the watch along live that we're doing. Tune into that. We'll chuck a link up in the comments if anyone wants to join the actual stream and talk with us whilst we're watching it. Picture or no picture, if you feel more comfortable not just having no picture as your thing or no video running, that's fine. Whatever works for you. Get your input in. We want to get the fans in. I'll be honest with you. The fans are what we do this for. The fans are what we do this for. That kind of leads me on to my last bit. If you enjoyed the show, the Full Boxing This Week episode is on our channel to watch after this. If you haven't had a chance to watch this, you can go back and watch it. It'll be on our channel after this. We are running a giveaway. Okay, we're running a giveaway. £50 Amazon voucher. Very simple, very easy to enter. Just hit subscribe and comment subscribe to enter. New shows drop every Thursday at 7:45. And then when we announce a live, obviously for the live shows, they will drop as well. Thank you very much for joining me tonight, everyone that stayed till the end. I'm excited for Saturday. It is good night from me. it is good night from this fraud behind me. Good night, everyone. Thank you for tuning in, Arjun. Everyone else that's kind of watched and locked in, we do appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube Hook Casuals, and we will see you on Saturday. And if we don't see you Saturday, we will see you for the weekly boxing show next Thursday at 7:45. Good night.